The morning came gently, like a secret whispered through the curtains. Pale sunlight spilled across the bed, brushing against tangled sheets and the soft rise and fall of two breathing forms. The world outside was still half asleep, the tide murmuring against the shore, the wind moving lazily through the palms. Elena stirred first. Her auburn curls caught the sunlight like threads of gold as she shifted slightly, her robe slipping down her arm. The room smelled of the ocean, and faintly of jasmine, the same perfume Layla had worn the night before. For a long time, Elena didn't move. She just watched the light stretch slowly across the room, feeling the weight of the quiet. It wasn't heavy, though it was peaceful, like the kind of silence you don't want to end. Layla was still half asleep beside her, one arm resting loosely across Elena's waist. Her dark hair fanned out across the pillow, and the faintest smile curved her lips, the kind of smile born from dreams you don't want to wake from. Elena turned slightly, her gaze soft. "Morning," she whispered. Layla murmured something unintelligible, her voice warm and low. Then she opened her eyes, the sunlight catching the flecks of brown in them. "Already?" she mumbled, sleep still clinging to her tone. Elena smiled. "Afraid so." Layla blinked slowly, her eyes tracing the light that played along Elena's skin. "You look like morning itself," she said, still half dreaming. Elena laughed quietly. "You always say things that sound like poetry. That's because you make me forget normal words," Layla replied, a little more awake now, her hand finding Elena's fingers beneath the sheets. For a moment, they didn't say anything else. The waves outside set a rhythm that matched their breathing in and out, soft and steady. Layla propped herself up slightly on one elbow, her black lace dress wrinkled from sleep but still impossibly elegant. "I don't remember the last time I felt this calm," she said. Like the world stopped asking for something. Elena tilted her head, watching her. "Maybe it's because, for once, we stopped giving it everything." That made Layla pause. She looked down at their joined hands, thumbs tracing lazy circles over each other's skin. "You think that's what this is?" she asked quietly. "Us, finally keeping something for ourselves?" Elena nodded slowly. "Maybe. Or maybe it's just what happens when you find someone who makes the noise fade." Layla's lips parted slightly, her breath catching on a small, silent laugh. "You know, that sounds even more poetic than what I said." "Then we're even," Elena smiled. The room filled with another stretch of quiet, but this time, it wasn't heavy with things. Instead it was light, like sunlight pooling across their bodies, warm and soft. Outside, a gull cried somewhere in the distance, and the faint sound of the sea drifted through the open window. Layla finally sat up, pulling her hair over one shoulder. "Do you ever think about what happens next?" she asked. Elena watched her for a moment before replying. "Sometimes, but not today." Layla turned, curious. "Why not today?" "Because today feels like one of those days that doesn't need to know the future," Elena said. "It's enough that it exists." Layla smiled, a small, real smile. "You make it sound easy." "It's not," Elena admitted, "but it's worth trying for." The light shifted again, growing brighter, wrapping them both in a golden haze that made everything around them blur. The shadows softened, the air seemed to hum. Layla leaned closer, her voice barely more than a whisper. "You know what I keep thinking?" Elena raised an eyebrow. "What?" "That this right here is what peace feels like." Elena's breath hitched softly. "Then hold on to it." "I am," Layla said, her tone quiet but steady. With both hands, they sat like that for a long time, close, quiet, unhurried. The morning outside stretched into something brighter, but inside the room, time felt suspended, caught in the glow of something unspoken but understood. Elena eventually slipped off the bed, her robe brushing against the floor as she crossed the room toward the window. The ocean shimmered beyond, sunlight scattered like silver across the waves. Layla watched her, chin resting on her knees. "You look different in daylight," she said softly. Elena turned, smiling. "Better or worse?" Layla's gaze lingered for a moment. "Just more real." Elena came back to the bed, sitting beside her again. "I'll take that," she murmured. Layla reached out, tucking a stray curl behind her ear. "You know what's funny? What? I used to think love had to be loud to be real," Layla said. "But now I think it's the quiet moments that tell the truth." Elena nodded, eyes warm. "Maybe the loud ones just fade faster." They both laughed softly. Outside, the waves rolled in steady rhythm, soft, endless, like a heartbeat that belonged to the world. As the light filled the room completely, the two women sat together in silence, their hands still intertwined, their hearts steady. No promises, no plans, just the quiet understanding that some mornings don't need words, they just need to be felt. And so they stayed, wrapped not in silk or lace this time, but in the kind of peace that lingers long after the sun has risen, a peace that felt unmistakably like love. The ocean whispered against the shore, and somewhere deep within that rhythm, the morning found them together, unhurried and whole. The room was wrapped in amber light, the kind that made everything seem softer, slower, like time itself was taking a deep breath. The curtains moved gently with the sea breeze slipping through the slightly open window, carrying the scent of salt and something faintly sweet, maybe her perfume still clinging to the air. On the bed, Elena sat with her back resting against the wooden headboard, her green robe pooling around her like spilled silk. Across from her, Layla, still dressed in that black lace dress, was half turned toward her, one knee sinking into the sheets, eyes searching Elena's face with a quiet kind of longing. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of something unspoken, thick with all the words they had avoided saying all day. The ocean outside hummed softly in the distance. "You always look like you belong to another time," Layla said finally, her voice low, a little rough with emotion. Elena smiled faintly, brushing a strand of red gold hair away from her cheek. "Another time?" she teased gently. "What does that even mean?" Layla hesitated, eyes tracing the lines of Elena's face as if trying to memorize them. "It means you carry light differently, like it listens to you." Elena's laugh was quiet, but her eyes softened. "Maybe it's the lamp," she said, nodding toward the bedside table, where the warm glow shaped their shadows into something tender. Layla shook her head. "No, it's you." Something in that silence afterward felt like a held breath between them. The world outside the window dimmed a little more, as if dusk was folding over itself, letting them exist in a moment that belonged only to them. Elena reached forward, her hand finding Layla's wrist with delicate certainty. "You always say things like that," she murmured, "and I never know what to do with them." Layla's fingers turned under hers, linking together naturally, like they had always known where they fit. "You don't have to do anything," she said softly. "Just stay." Elena's lips parted slightly. There were words waiting there, she could feel them, but instead she just looked at her. The silence said what language could not. The sound of the waves outside seemed louder now, as if answering something. The wind pressed faintly against the glass, rattling it, but inside the room the air was still dense with the warmth between them. Layla leaned closer, her dark hair brushing against Elena's arm. "You ever think," she whispered, "that maybe this us wasn't supposed to happen, but it did anyway?" Elena tilted her head, her voice barely above a breath. "And what if it was always supposed to?" Layla closed her eyes for a second, breathing in deeply as though steadying herself. "Then I'd stop pretending to be brave," she said, "and I'd just let it happen." The words hung there, soft and fragile. Then Elena's hand moved just slightly, but enough. She brushed Layla's cheek with the back of her fingers, feeling the warmth there, the quiet tremor of something real. Outside, the sun slipped completely beneath the horizon, leaving the room caught between gold and shadow. The lamp's light bathed them in that honeyed glow that made their skin look like part of the same warmth. Layla's gaze lifted again, their faces now close enough that even their breaths began to merge. "Elena?" she whispered. Elena's lips curved, soft and trembling. I don't know what happens after this," Layla said, "but I don't want to lose this night." Elena nodded slowly. "Then don't." The way she said it wasn't a command, it was a promise. The clock ticked faintly, the kind of sound that usually went unnoticed. but now it punctuated each second of stillness between them. Layla shifted just a little closer, and Elena didn't move away. Her robe slipped slightly off one shoulder, revealing a hint of the light blue strap beneath. Layla's eyes followed the movement without meaning to, her breath catching before she looked away again, smiling with quiet embarrassment. "You're staring," Elena said, her tone teasing but gentle. "I know," Layla replied, her voice barely there. "I can't help it." Elena's laugh was soft and warm. "Then don't." And in that moment, everything slowed: the light, the air, even the heartbeat of the night itself. The story of them wasn't loud or dramatic. It wasn't made of declarations or fireworks. It was made of quiet moments like this, of warmth shared in silence, of the small courage it took to stay when the world told them not to. Layla reached for her again, brushing her fingers against Elena's wrist, tracing faint circles as if to memorize the pulse beneath. Outside, the sea kept whispering its steady lullaby. Inside, two hearts found their rhythm in the glow of one quiet lamp. And for that night, wrapped in soft light and the hush between waves, it felt like forever.